Good morning, my beautiful and lovely friends. So if you missed yesterday's video, I talked to you guys about how I went to the emergency room. I was feeling extreme pain in my abdomen and I was like doubled over in pain. I was having pain radiating up my back. It was up in my stomach. I just had so much pain in my abdomen. I was shaky. I felt like I was going to throw up and pass out, but I hopped in the bath and I felt about 70% better in a bath, and then was able to kind of carry on the rest of the night. I woke up the next day, I went into the recording studio, came home, and the pain was still kind of present, still about 75% gone, but the swelling in my abdomen started getting pretty intense. So decided to go to the emergency room, to the urgent care locally here, and just see what was up. So check out yesterday's video for more details on my ER visit. But long story short, I got an ultrasound, I got a CT scan, and they found a cyst on my ovary, actually covering my ovary. They couldn't even see my ovary in the ultrasound. The cyst is so large. It's a dermoid cyst and it was bigger than a softball. So they were wanting me to go in for surgery that night, but considering I wasn't having a ton of sharp, like doubled over, feeling like I was going to vomit sort of pain, that I could go home and sleep, come back in and talk to the OBGYN. So the morning after I went to the ER, I woke up, I was feeling at peace. I knew I was going to go into the OBGYN that day and get surgery. It was either going to be emergency surgery the night before or go to an appointment and then get surgery the following day. So in the morning, I hopped on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook and let you guys know that I was getting surgery that day. Good morning, friends. I just wanted to pop on really quick, update you that I won't be posting for a little bit. I went into the hospital, the ER last night, with pretty severe abdominal pain. They did a scan or two and found a bigger than a softball size cyst on my ovary. So it's not emergency surgery, but I do have to get immediate surgery to get it removed. It could cause a lot of complications. I probably will lose my ovary, but I'm praying that I'll be able to keep my ovary. It's not likely, but I don't want sympathy. I'm sorry you're going through this, but if you could send some prayers and love and just for a healthy surgery, healthy body afterwards, and I'm just hoping I can keep my ovary. So yeah, just want to let you know, update you, and yeah, I'll keep you posted in the next couple of days. I asked for you to not send pity or sorries my way, but to send just some love, prayers, good vibes, healing vibes. And you guys were so amazing. So amazing. I got so many sweet messages. I've heard a lot of stories about people who have had this ovarian cyst and had it removed and they're still able to have kids, etc. So thank you guys so much for sending over well wishes. It meant so much to me, and it just gave me this sense of peace and, you know, comfort that you guys were sending some love, and I just felt like everything was going to be okay. So we show up at the hospital. Going into the hospital, I'm going to go see an OBGYN, right? OBGYN.
Yes.
And answer some questions.
Lots of questions.
99% sure I have to get surgery, or I'm going to get surgery. It's not emergency surgery, but it's immediate surgery. So I kind of explained from start to finish what had happened, how I had had a really sharp pain in my left side, which felt like my left ovary. I was doubled over, felt like I was going to throw up. I told him the whole thing from start to finish, how I got in the bathtub, it felt 70% better. And I carried on about my day, and haven't had like a ton of pain. Now, he had reviewed my ultrasound and saw the gigantic cyst, the ones that's the size of a softball. It's covering my ovary, and the plan was to take out the cyst, and he said he would most likely have to remove the ovary with it because they couldn't even see the ovary. They don't know if it had a blood supply. They don't know if the cyst has just completely taken over the ovary. That's what it looked like on the scans, but they couldn't really tell. But when I had told my doctor that my pain was on my left side, he was like, wait, what? And he reviewed the ultrasound and did see that a cyst on the left side had burst, like recently, and there was some pooling, some blood pooling or fluid pooling. They don't know if it's blood or not, but fluid that was pooling in my abdomen a bit. It wasn't enough fluid to be an emergency. But after I had told him exactly what happened, he thought it was more likely that a cyst had burst on my left ovary and blood had drained into my abdomen, and that's where the pain came from. And the gigantic cyst on my right ovary was just a happenstance, just happened to find it because they were in there looking around. So he said it is still possible that the gigantic cyst on my right ovary flipped and caused pain, but since the pain wasn't on my right side and it was on my left side, the ultrasound actually is more consistent with a regular cyst just bursting on the left side. And it was just something that was going to clear up on its own. It'd take 2 weeks for the swelling to go down. I might feel a little like queasy, and I also made it really clear to the doctor that I want to have kids. And he's saying, well, since you're 41, since you want kids, and since removing the cyst, which does have to be removed, the big cyst on the right side, it still has to be removed, especially if I want to have a kid, it's going to have to be removed. Since I do want to have kids, he said, I actually recommend that you don't get rid of your ovary if at all possible. So instead of going into surgery that day, Andy and I and the doctor decided we would do IVF, go into an IVF specialist and see if we can first extract some eggs out of that right ovary before surgery. So if they do have to remove my ovary during the cyst removal, which they probably will, that I at least have a chance of retrieving some eggs from that ovary and freezing them. So he said, since I'm not in pain, and he gave me a pelvic exam and there wasn't any localized, like when he pressed on my abdomen, it didn't hurt or anything. So he said, I'm actually pretty good since I've had this cyst in my body probably my whole life, and it's been growing slowly over time, that it would be okay to at least go in and check with an IVF specialist to see if they can retrieve eggs. Now, my cyst is so large, it's covering the ovary where you can't even see it in an ultrasound, so it might not even be possible to retrieve eggs just because they can't see the ovary and see, the state of it. They're most likely going to recommend removing the cyst in order to retrieve eggs from the ovary. So we took a pause on the surgery that I was 100% sure I was going to have surgery that day, maybe 99%. I had a lot of questions for the OBGYN, and he really recommended, well, obviously he wanted it to be our decision, told us the potential risks, which were that my right ovary had flipped and cut circulation off to my ovary and maybe burst, and then it's leaking and could cause sepsis, which can cause death. Okay, so I feel like I didn't really clarify this, so let me just show you a diagram because that's going to help me explain it a little bit better. So here's a diagram of the female reproductive organs. We have the uterus in the middle, and then the ovaries are attached to the uterus. This over here is actually the left side, and this over here is the right side. So what happened is I went into the emergency room and they saw a cyst on my ovary, covering my ovary on the right side that was about this big. Since I came in with really severe pain that was radiating up my back and into my stomach, they assumed that I had ovarian torsion on this right side. So that means my cyst would have fallen and twisted my ovary and potentially cut off circulation and blood supply. I took a bath and it felt better. So they were assuming that the cyst readjusted and untwisted the ovary, and that's why I was feeling better. However, when I went into the OBGYN the following day and I had told him that I actually had pain on my left side and not my right side, he saw that on my ultrasound that I did recently have a cyst burst on this left side. They also saw some liquid pooling in my abdomen. So instead of this big cyst on the right side causing ovarian torsion, he actually thinks my pain came from this left side cyst bursting, and they just happened to find the large softball-sized cyst on the right side. So in the left ovary, that cyst that burst a couple days ago and caused all the pain and symptoms of vomiting, etc., that will actually heal up on its own. But thankfully, they found the dermoid cyst on the right side that does need to be removed. Absolutely does need to be removed. The problem with this is they can't see the ovary because the dermoid cyst is covering the ovary, so they cannot right now tell if I'm getting blood supply to this ovary. So there still is a chance, a small chance, but he said there still is a chance that I did have ovarian torsion on my right side and that caused the pain. But he thinks it's more likely it was this left side cyst that burst that caused the pain, in which case I can go into a IVF specialist and see if they can't get some eggs out of this right ovary before they have to, and they do have to, surgically remove this dermoid cyst on the right side, but they want to see if they can get the eggs out of it first. Now, if I was in my 20s, it probably wouldn't be an issue. They would just remove it and I could probably still get pregnant from my one remaining ovary. But since I'm 41, he said, yeah, no, you need to go into an IVF specialist and see if they can retrieve any of those eggs before we remove the cyst. So hope that little diagram helps you. He drew it out for me and it helped so much to understand what was happening. So there is a chance that the cyst on my right ovary twisted, caused a shooting pain, and then untwisted, and now it's feeling okay. But he said if I felt any like fevery symptoms or any sharp pains to come in immediately for surgery. So instead of getting surgery removing my cyst on my right ovary, we decided to let my left ovary that the cyst burst on heal for a little bit and go into an IVF specialist. He said go in yesterday because I'm 41. And the reason we're talking about IVF is not only because of my age and the health of your eggs deteriorates over time, the chances of Down syndrome increase. So if you do IVF, they can test for certain cellular defects and things such as Down syndrome, so they can choose a healthier egg. So I'm interested in IVF, so I'm gonna see if I can get any eggs out of that right ovary, and instead of getting surgery, we're starting fertility treatment, which is a little bit wild. It's really wild, actually. It's something we've talked about. It's just something we've had to make a decision on pretty quickly, so it's a little stressful. It's definitely stressful, but I know I want to have kids, so this was kind of a wake-up call for me. It's crazy because I think all of your prayers and love that you sent over really, really worked. I felt so connected and just so in the feeling of love. And I feel like it was a miracle that I didn't have to get surgery that day. And it was actually my left ovary that the cyst burst. Even though that's not ideal and that's really painful, it just clears up on its own. So grateful that I found the cyst on my right ovary because I know I need to get that removed. It could end up bursting at some point and cause sepsis and a lot of pain. And that is a huge cyst to burst. So I'm really grateful that we kind of accidentally found this gigantic cyst because the little tiny cyst burst and caused me some discomfort. Also, I do want to have kids so bad. Like I was telling the doctor how bad I want kids, and he was like, oh, okay, yeah, we need to get you into fertility treatment yesterday. He also said that he would use a robotic surgical tool instead of just going in manually to try and see if the robotic surgery tool, I don't know what it's called, will like go around the cyst and be able to save my ovary. He said there's probably a better chance to save my ovary if he uses that technology. So I was really grateful. I felt like the doctor could really feel how bad I want to have kids. Like, I know I'm supposed to be a mother. I don't know if you just know if you're supposed to be a mother, and I know I'm supposed to be a mother. So he could just feel like, oh, this woman really wants to have a child of her own. So That's why we made the decision we did. It is still imperative that I get this cyst removed. It could burst. It is very large, but it is not causing an emergency surgery sort of situation or even an urgent surgery situation. He said we can wait a couple weeks, and he said we can talk to the IVF specialist first and at least see if there's a possibility for me to get hormones injected to get the eggs to enlarge, and then they can extract them and freeze them. So even if I do lose the ovary, I'll at least have the eggs out of the ovary. There are potential risks with not getting the surgery right away, but I'm so grateful. I feel like it's the right thing. I feel like it was such a beautiful thing. Like the doctor even asked if he could pray with us, and it was such a beautiful moment. Like he just said, bless this family, bless this woman's body. And I just felt so connected. Like I just felt like it's all gonna be okay. I'm gonna be able to have kids somehow. And I just know in my heart that I'm meant to be a mother. So this has been a really hard decision, but I guess we're starting IVF. I guess I'm starting on my IVF journey. So I'm gonna take you guys along with me for that in the next couple of weeks. So ultimately I'm grateful this happened. I feel like it was meant to happen. It kind of perked me up like, oh, I really have to get on this like yesterday and get on this soon if I do wanna have kids. So it has forced me to prioritize that, which I'm really, really grateful for. It feels kind of divine. I don't know how to explain it, and lately I've been it's so weird, but I've been like praying for my kids. I feel like I can feel that they're there and like little souls ready to come into the world. I can't even explain it, but like going through surgery, like having to get surgery is not a good thing, but I would have had to get the surgery to get pregnant regardless. So it almost feels like divine intervention. I can't even explain it. It feels silly to say, but I just feel it so on such a deep level that this was meant to happen. And it's been really, really hard. It's been really hard. And it is such an early time in my relationship with Andy to like really start fertility treatment. It's crazy, but I have to start fertility treatment to have a child in general. So it's forcing me to make some big decisions. And how many more big decisions do I need to make in 2024? Oh my gosh, it's pretty overwhelming, but I'm starting my IVF journey very, very soon. And if you guys have any recommendations, let me know. I heard someone along the way say that they go to Arizona for IVF because it's cheaper than in Utah. So if you guys have any information, I don't have insurance right now. If you have any wisdom on how I can help afford this journey, or if there are programs that help people without insurance, please let me know in the comments. If you have any insight or know anyone I could talk to who has gone through fertility treatment. I would like to freeze my eggs. I don't have insurance and I'm self-employed, and that is tricky. That is very, very tricky. So if you got any little pearls of wisdom for me, let me know. And if you made it this far in the video, do you know anyone who has had a healthy baby in their 40s? Did they do IVF? What was their story? Like, you don't have to give too much of their story away because it's a personal thing. But if you have anything that you wish to share, let me know. This is a whole new chapter for me, and it's something I'm terrified about and excited about and just feel a really deep, like, soul connection with. So I can't explain it. It makes me want to cry. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. These have been a couple random videos. I will keep you updated with health stuff sprinkled in throughout. I'm gonna do 12 days of Vlogmas from the 12th through the 24th. So I'll keep you posted with all that stuff. But yeah, look forward to the daily videos, and thank you so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for sending all your prayers and all your love. I do feel like it really, really, really helped me that morning when I went in for surgery. I feel like it really, really did protect me that day, and I could have gone into surgery that day and had my ovary moved and not been able to have kids, but I feel like there's still a chance. So thank you so much for sending all the love my way. I really feel it, and I feel so connected and just at peace. I'm scared, it's a lot, but I do feel a deep sense of peace. And yeah, sending you guys love. If you've gone through a certain thing and you don't want to share it in the comments, feel free to reach out on Instagram, send me a direct message. I'd love to connect with some of you who have gone through a similar journey to this. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you loved it, share it with your friends. Oh, neighbors, can you come do my lawn, please? Thanks. Anyway, we'll see you in the next video.